Well, hello, and oops, I've just turned this off. Whoopsies. Hello, welcome everybody. So I've seen Christine and Meemore and Totally Braless and Cal and Bruce, the COVID poo. Yeah, sometimes I'm early if I'm a little bit bored and I'm bored. I just start early so we can get a little bit of chit chat in before we get into the main crux of everything. So it's been a really busy day in Australia, in the Australian federal courts today. It was bizarre. Hello, Plan to Create. What I found to be the most interesting was how John Barilaro, the Deputy Premier of New South Wales, has been doing the rounds of media talking about how important it is to open up. And his own barrister was saying that vaccine rates didn't matter if children weren't vaccinated and there was a risk that the jurors could get COVID. And it was really bizarre to hear his barrister going on about the risks of COVID and to hear Shanks's barrister going, well, they've said they're going to open up when there's 80%. And New South Wales and the national strategy is this, and the national strategy is X, Y, Z, and New South Wales is going to do A, B, C. It was like, I would have thought it would have been the other way around, but no. Anyway, there's no jury trial, unfortunately, because the judge believes that COVID is too much of a risk, which totally is against everything that Bruz has been saying. I would love to hear a question tomorrow at the press conference of New South Wales to ask Bruz whether his barrister talked on his instruction or whether she was talking on her own instruction about how dangerous having a jury trial would be, because that's what I have lots of questions at the moment. So, but before we get to all of that, hello, Keno. Hello, Will, that's come in. Rufus, hello, Rufus. Before we go down that path, I get onto that, and I managed to do an assignment while the court was on. I had my iPad with the court going on, and I did a presentation today as well, and then went back to it. So let's just start off with the fact that the US now has left Afghanistan. Afghanistan is now in the hands of the Taliban. So the last plane has left Kabul airport in Afghanistan. So the Taliban now has control. So the final US troops have left the airport in 20 years. US military was dealing with the threat of attacks from ISIS-K terrorist group right up until the last plane took off. The day before, rockets were fired at the airfield, and the US drone strike killed a suicide bomber. The military suspected was preparing to attack the airport. General Frank McKenzie, head of the US Central Command, said there was overwhelming US air power overhead to deal with potential attacks. As planes were being prepared for departure. Some military equipment was loaded onto planes, but some was left behind. They've left a whole pile of military equipment there. General McKenzie said troops didn't blow up the equipment. That wasn't going with them to ensure the airport was left in operational condition. But they did disable 27 armoured vehicles and 73 aircraft that remained at the airport. Can you believe that? They've disabled it, but what's it going to take for it all to be re-enabled? Troops kept the weapon systems used to deflect rocket attacks operational until just before the last plane left, in case they came under attack by ISIS-K. We felt it more important to protect our forces than to bring those systems back, General McKenzie said. He said the equipment had been demilitarized and couldn't be used again. All right. Troops evacuated as many as 1,500 Afghans on the last day of the evacuation method, mission. General McKenzie said no US citizens were left stranded at the airport. He said troops were prepared to evacuate people right up until the very last minute, but no US citizens were on the final 5 flights out. None of them made it to the airport. Ross Wilson, the acting US ambassador to Afghanistan, was on the final C-17 plane to leave. US Central Command later tweeted a photo of Major General Chris Donahue, the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, boarding the plane. He was the last soldier to leave. So there you go, the last soldier to leave. Military leaders watched the final 90 minutes of the mission in the Pentagon basement. An anonymous US official told the Associated Press you'd hear a pin drop as the last aircraft lifted off, saying leaders sighed a heavy sigh of relief when it was safely over. Originally, US President Joe Biden said troops would be out of Afghanistan by September 11, but he revised that deadline in July. Our military mission in Afghanistan will conclude on August 31, and the US military kept neatly to the schedule. The last plane took off August 30 at 11:59 p.m. local time, 1 minute before the clock ticked to August 31. And the Taliban celebrated, celebratory shots fired in the air in Kabul as US troops leave Afghanistan. The last US soldier has left at Kabul airport and our country gained complete independence, Taliban spokesman Kari Yusuf said. As soon as the clock ticked over to midnight, Taliban fighters entered a hangar once used by the US military. LA Times Middle East correspondent was there to film it. So here we go. This is them. If my internet works. And there they are. They're going. They're examining the helicopters left behind. And this is the Middle East correspondent. Oh, he's talking, sorry. Oh, no, there's no sound. I don't know. I've got no sound. All the troops were evacuated. US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said there were fewer than 200 Americans still in Afghanistan, but that number was closer to 100. However, they don't know the exact figure. There's a lot of heartbreak associated with the departure. We did not get everyone out that we wanted to, but I think if we stayed another 10 days, we could have gotten everyone out. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told reporters yesterday about 6,000 Americans being evacuated or had left Afghanistan. More than 122,000 people had been flown out of Kabul since August 14. Mr. Blinken said the US government was working to find ways to help people wanting to leave via overland routes, but that won't involve the kind of military evacuations we've seen in the past week. A new chapter of America's engagement with Afghanistan has begun. It's one in which we will lead with our diplomacy. We will continue our relentless efforts to help Americans, foreign nationals, and Afghans leave Afghanistan if they choose. Our commitment is to hold them to no deadline. We have no illusion that any of this will be easy or rapid. Said the government would run its Afghanistan diplomatic activities, including consular work and humanitarian aid out of Doha, Qatar. The Taliban said they would allow all foreign nationals and Afghan citizens with travel authorizations from another country to leave Afghanistan, according to a joint statement issued by the US on more than 100 countries on Sunday. So the Afghans saying that they will let the Taliban saying they'll let people out if they've got international paperwork, they can leave. But that does not mean we trust everything they say, Ms. Psaki said when asked about evacuating Americans during a White House press briefing. She went on to say there was ongoing, immediate, urgent conversations happening at very high levels with very high-level international partners now. The Taliban also said they would allow normal travel to resume after they regained control of the airport, but that timeframe was unclear. Mr. Blinken said the US government would work with Turkey and Qatar to help get the airport up and running. This will enable a small number of daily charter flights, which is key for anyone who wants to depart from Afghanistan moving forward. The US military left some equipment for Taliban in order to run the airport, including 2 fire trucks, some front-end loaders, and aircraft staircases. Turkish Foreign Minister said repair work had to be done before the airport could be reopened for civilian flights. Well, that's a very good question. Yeah, I don't know that there's an answer for that. So hopefully the people that are still there can get out, because that just no, that's true. But the Afghanistan's Minister for Women managed to escape. She fled the country in disguise. So Afghanistan's Minister for Women in the now toppled government has told ABC she fled Afghanistan. She disguised her face to evade the Taliban and made it to Kabul airport in the final days of the evacuation. She became Afghanistan's acting Minister for Women in May 2020 and served until the fall of Kabul. She said leaving was the most difficult decision in her life. It was the hardest days. This would be my life's most difficult situation. I've been crying the whole week. I can't stop. If you see my face, you will not understand who it is. She said in the days before her eventual departure, Australian forces attempted to help her leave the country. The military of Australia called me and they tried to coordinate for my evacuation, but I could not because I was very, very afraid to take the decision to take the local taxi. Hello, short order cook. Hello, chaotic. The Australian government also called me and told me to send them the list of staff in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This was the first international partner who asked for women who worked in the government and directly from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She did make her way to the Kabul airport on August 24 with a small detail of local Afghan men after coordination with the US State Department. She said the scene at the airport was terrible and people trying to escape were subject to violence. You could see the people were eating you with their eyes. She went to Abbey Gate, which was terrible, all fighting, beating people with the State Department. They gave me a code to use when I arrived. They told me to show it. With her face hidden, after showing the code, her small security detail revealed her identity to American troops. The next day, she was able to leave on the evacuation flight to Dubai. She's since arrived safely in the UK. I never thought we would be again forced to refugee again. It's a very strange feeling when you do not have your own identity, the hope, the work, the pride. Meanwhile, I'm a mother, so I don't want to show myself weak in front of my children. She said leaving behind both the work she had done to help the Afghan government and women's rights, as well as the life she'd established for her family, was incredibly difficult. Hello, the Fox. Hello, Ellie. So she's worried about the future of women in Afghanistan. She's worried about the security. There's lots of uncertainty, and she doesn't have faith in the Taliban's promise to respect the rights of women. And he said Afghan women were feeling great pain and sadness in the situation. They cannot protect our rights. We can protect our rights ourselves. So that is the former Minister of Women of Afghanistan who fled, and now she's in the United Kingdom. So they've actually obviously blocked out her face. So she had a couple of attempts. So the Australians attempted to help her escape, and then eventually she was able to. She got the courage for the Americans. All right. What would you like first? Bruz or porter? This is a choose your own adventure. Do you want to hear about? Both have got. Yes, Afghanistan, as I said, 20 years wasted, it would seem, in Afghanistan. Put down, give me a 1 if you want to get the update between John Barilaro and Shanks now, or a 2 for Porter. Oh, we've already got a mixture. And then that, because we're going to cover both of them. It's just we'll see what order we get. We got 2 for Portaloo and 1 for Bruz. So 1 if you want to go to Bruz now, 2 if you want Portaloo, or was it the other way around? I can't remember what I said. Oh no! Oh no! Looks like Bruz is going to win. 1. Hang on. 1, 2. I've got 3 for Bruz. All right, Bruz it is. All right, so there's a couple of media. Shouldn't Bruz? Oh my! Rufus, that's hilarious. Bruz should be number 2. Yes, you're correct, but he should be. So we're going to look at the media. We're going to look at the articles. There's been no paperwork. There's been no paperwork released yet with this. So we're going to look at this, and then we're going to look at. All right, so we're going to start with Bruz. All right, so let's look at what these articles have said, and then you can tell me how close I was. So why John Barilaro wants Friendly Geordie's lawsuit decided by a judge. So it says Deputy Premier John Barilaro's lawyer said court bid by YouTube comedian being sued for defamation could become terrible, frankly. So it says, oh dear. One of the things that I got from this is I got the impression that Bruz was very, very jealous Shanks had raised $1 million because his barrister took great exception over the fact. Oh, I'm confused. I confused myself. Let's just forget that. They took great exception over the fact that, and they had all the details. He had 2,400 people donate to him, and he raised over $1 million. So he doesn't care whether this gets dragged out. And our poor client has to fund it all himself, and he doesn't have great purse strings like Google. Yes, that's how it was put to the judge. New South Wales Deputy Premier John Barilaro has argued that his courtroom showdown with Friendly Geordies shouldn't be decided by jury because of COVID and the YouTube comedian's $1 million legal war chest. Yes, COVID was actually the excuse given for why it couldn't be with a jury. But don't forget, Bruz has been doing the media saying that New South Wales needed to open and get back to normal, but yet they've used it as a reason for why he can't have a jury. Work this out. Make this make sense, because I can't. So he's just suing Jordan Shanks and his Friendly Geordies over 2 videos, claimed he defamed him in vile and racist attacks. And the secret dictatorship. Mr. Shanks' barrister, Matthew Collins, argued that the case should be decided by a 4 or 12-person jury rather than the judge because of what he described as changing community standards. I think, well, Bruz maybe needs to sell his holiday home, hey? So, and Google was saying the same thing as well. And one of the things that they talked about was the broad meaning of corruption. Corruption means different things in the community. So he said the case would hinge on whether it could be proven that Mr. Barilaro was a corrupt conman. Mr. Shanks claimed in his defence that it was true that Mr. Barilaro had committed perjury. In his honest opinion, the member of Monaro should be jailed. Mr. Collins told the court on Tuesday that the meaning of corruption had evolved and now carried a broad meaning, including the debasement of institutions he was supposed to uphold. Well, the judge did say, well, hello, the thing is, the judge should say maybe we need to set the trial. Maybe we need to set the trial in Monaro. And I'm thinking, I don't think they like him there either. Fireworks. We'd have to make sure Osbel was on the jury. Anyway, they said the money would go. Mr. Shanks' lawyer previously announced that they had raised about $1 million for his legal fund through 24,000 donations. They said the money would go towards defending the lawsuit against Mr. Barilaro, as well as a Friendly Geordie producer who'd been charged with stalking or intimidating the MP. However, Mr. Barilaro's high-profile barrister argued that should any that should any trial suffer a last-minute setback because of coronavirus and be forced to be heard by a judge, it would provide Mr. Shanks with an advantage because his defense was crowdsourced. Yes, she said that. She said he had open pockets and her client doesn't. She argued that a jury trial was substantially different and would require a vastly distinct approach from his legal team, which would leave Mr. Barilaro incurring significant additional legal costs should it suddenly be shifted to judge alone. Everyone get your violins out. Where's your violins? It's frankly terrible to think that days and days and costs in particular could be thrown away at the last minute when the whole cost could be avoided now. The submission is underpinned by the fact Google has unlimited resources and Mr. Shanks is spending other people's money. What about her client? Do we know for a fact that he's not opened up the public purse strings? Brusbin Sabrina. That's right. Ms. Chrysanthi also argued, this is great. This is great. And for those of you that have been following all the New South Wales press conferences, this is totally opposite to what has been said at press conferences. Ms. Chrysanthi argued that COVID represented a roadblock to holding a jury trial, saying that while the state was moving towards opening up, it could still represent problems in the new year. She said that some jurors who had young children who are ineligible for vaccination might not be willing to come to court for fear of catching the virus, or any trial could be held up if the juror was infected. That's what she said. That is what she said. It was all about young children. Yet New South Wales is sending all the kids back to school in October. Hello? Mr. Collins argued that Mr. Shanks' YouTube viewership was overwhelmingly young, with 75% of them being under 35. The court was also told about 90% of his audience was male. He argued that Mr. Shanks' video were a combination of information, comedy and satire that would be viewed differently by the public as opposed to the judge. Your Honour, all the people hate me and want me to be exposed in court enough to pay for his lawyer, but no one paid me for mine. An ordinary reasonable viewer is likely to perceive information, comedy, satire and parody conveyed by videos, such as in this case, quite differently from what they would on a current affair or Four Corners or 60 Minutes, Mr. Collins argued. The great advantage would be that a jury would better represent the very audience to which the matter complained of would address better than any judge sitting alone. However, Justice Stephen Rares questioned, but what about a jury of old age pensioners and women? That was his. And to that, Ms. Chrysanthi said that she doesn't fit the demographic and find him repulsive, and figures that everyone else is going to vote for the same. So then this is so he's denied the jury trial. So the judge found a jury would not be appropriate due to the complex legal issues involved and the uncertainty created by COVID. As I said, it's very ironic that this morning Buzz was on national TV talking about how the state was going to be opened, and yet one of the reasons why he's saying, one of the reasons why they're saying they were opposed to jury trial was because of COVID. Isn't that ironic? So Google is also being sued. He could sell one of his Airbnb's Marmaduke. The politician argues the videos incorrectly portray him as a corrupt con man who committed perjury 9 times and should be jailed. Hello, Brendan. Mr. Shanks has sought to rely on the defences of truth, contextual truth and honest opinion, while Google will argue the defences of qualified privilege, honest opinion and public interest. So Google and Shanks had sought to have the trial heard by jury. However, he refused the application, noting the trial would need to pass complex areas of law, including 2 versions of the Defamation Act, which was updated in July. Now, interestingly enough, the whole for the first 2 hours was arguing over the new Defamation Act. On the 1st of July, the Defamation Amendment came in, Act Amendment came in. And Braz has now left himself open, and it's all in transcript, where he cannot get, unless the justice has ordered it, because I didn't catch all of the orders. But from the part I was listening to, and Dr. Collins picked up Chrysanthia on the issue, that under the way that's been pled and or pleaded, and same with Google, that Braz isn't eligible for any damages after the 1st of July because of the new law. So no, I think it was Jordan that was Jordan. Hello, Check Plus. So he may not be able to get any compensation from the 1st of July anyway. I mean, I guess with all good, I mean, if he really wanted to be cheeky, I wonder if he took the videos down for 24 hours and then put them back up, it would come under the new defamation law. I don't know. So Justice Reyes said the uncertain impact of the pandemic, which may prevent jurors from attending court, and an appeal launched by Mr. Shanks against the previous decision in the case makes it more complex. So Shanks is appealing Justice Reyes' decision about parliamentary privilege. That has to be sorted out. So even before they can go to trial, before anything happens, that has to be sorted out. Because then, if parliamentary privilege, let's just say Justice Reyes' decisions are overturned, and they can plead parliamentary privilege, we're back to square one, because then they have to file a new defence, etc., etc., etc. So we're not really out of the first. If you're talking about the first part, you know, how a case goes, we're still only in the first stage. So I understand Justice Reyes saying no to a jury trial, because you've got to navigate between the old Defamation Act and the new Defamation Act. I think it's finely balanced. Perhaps in more normal times with a simpler case, it would be appropriate. He said he was mindful the jury trial would take longer, and Google and Mr. Shanks had deep pockets necessary for this, the latter because he raised $1 million through crowdfunding. Justice Reyes said Mr. Barilaro may not have those financial means. Mr. Barilaro is poor. Justice Reyes said Mr. Barilaro may not have those financial means. What? Mr. Shanks' barrister Matt Collins QC had earlier presented 9 reasons why the trial should be heard by jury of 4 people. So he talked about the corruption. He said the YouTube videos produced by his clients, combination of information, comedy, some of it vulgar, satire, parody. Yep, so 75% were under the age of 30. Yeah. So he said, we say the risk of a single judge sitting alone is that matters complained of would be interpreted as if they were no more than analogous to the sorts of legacy media mentioned in the case. Justice Reyes responded that he is living in 2021 with the rest of us. Even the old troglodytes like myself are able to understand what a YouTube video is. That was good. Barrister Lyndall Barnett for Google agreed Dr. Collins that the jury trial should be heard. She said some issues are best decided by a jury. Firstly, the tension between freedom of political expression and the right to reputation. And secondly, the role in the internet intermediately, such as Google, should play in censoring political content by taking it down when a defamation plaintiff requests them to. Ms. Barnett said another issue for a jury would be what's tolerable in a comedic or satirical context, because some comedy or entertainment that was once acceptable has now been cancelled. I wonder if there are any Italian clubs around that Bruskin. Yeah. Mr. Barilaro's barrister, Sue Chrysanthou, said the trial should be a judge only because Mr. Shanks has been inciting an extreme level of hatred against her clients and his lawyers, including herself, which has been poisoning the well of public opinion. Yes, that's right. It is Shanks's fault that everybody hates or people don't like Braz. And she doesn't like the video. Inciting. Everyone's been inciting hatred towards him. The other thing is apparently people have been saying some not very nice things to Braz on his Twitter account and sending him not very nice emails, which is all Jordan Shanks's fault because he's inciting hatred. Yes, I did say I've seen part of it. His conduct in that regard is something that should be taken into account in the application where discretionary decision is sought to be made in favour, Mr. Chrysanthus said. We say Mr. Shanks has, in quite a calculated campaign, sought to interfere with that jury pool. So she's saying because he made videos that were not very nice, that the jury pool has been interfered with. Ms. Chrysanthus said another matter to consider is that a jury trial will be about 25% more expensive, which doesn't matter to Google because it has more money to spend than most countries, and it doesn't matter to Mr. Shanks because he has $1 million. But it does matter to her client. Have I seen his brothers? Yeah. Oh, look, I've been giving him some hassle too. So Justice Reyes says it can't be forgotten that we are in the middle of a global pandemic. He has taken on notice the issues of such as a new variant of COVID-19 being detected in South Africa. Did you know that? Apparently, there's a new. It was brought up again, revealed that there's a new variant in South Africa which is more transmissible than Delta. That's not been mentioned at any press conference that I've heard. Have you? So the case will return to court next month. So there is a date of the 15th of October, which is a mediation, I think a evidence meeting, but they're going to try and do a mediation session before that with a registrar and to see whether they can mediate it out. And they're trying to get and put some dates in place. Now, the preliminary dates that are there are for March. And conveniently, and I shouldn't say conveniently, or ironically, they're the dates that Dr. Collins are not available. Shanks's lawyer is not available. And it all has to fit around, apparently has to fit around Braz's parliamentary dates. So it could be that Shanks is without his barrister. So he's got to say he's poor. Well, he'd be losing money because he can't have people in his B&B at the moment, can he? So what are you all thinking about that? What's your thoughts on all of that? Do you find it very ironic that Braz is using COVID as a reason against the jury trial? Because I do. I find it just baffling, actually. Cue in poppy seeds. I mean, they spent 2 hours, and then they got to costs. So there was a whole argument over costs. And the problem with the costs was Braz's barrister says, well, Shanks should have to pay for it. And Dr. Collins said, hang on a minute. You argued for 2 hours over our defence. You didn't want to accept our defence because we were using the new defamation law and you wanted the old defamation law. And Google turned around and said, hey, our defence got accepted and yet you just wasted all this time. And you took exception to what we filed. And you wanted to start arguing with it. So I don't know. I've missed some of that. So I have to wait for the judges' decisions to be released, but they've not been released yet. I'll just do a quick look. I've just put slow mode on because it's just jumped everywhere for me. So, as I said, I find it really... See, for me, I would have thought it would have been fair for them to have to bear their own costs today. That's what I would have thought was fair, but I know it doesn't work like that, particularly when they'd come for a purpose, but instead And the other thing that also happened was that there was an allegation about Brothers' lawyer playing hardball. So Shanks had to ask the court to allow them to do something, because they weren't being very helpful. So it was very, very interesting. I'm just pulling up the court case, but I didn't get notification that there was new documents, so I don't think that it was uploaded, because I get a notification if there's a new document uploaded. So yeah, I just find the whole thing to be very, very bizarre. Well, maybe he did think it was going to come out. I mean, he had been asked. I know that question was put to him in Parliament, and I don't think he answered it. However, his barrister has said that he's paying for it on his own, so he should not get anything from the public purse. I would have loved to have seen the old pensioners, what they would have thought. That's what I would have liked. Oh, can't get in. Oh, is it down? I know it was going to be down for a little while at some stage today. Tonight. Maybe it's down. Yeah. No, I don't want the judgments. So, oh, I know. Yeah, I just was very, I found it just very interesting. Yeah, it's down. That'd be right. All right. So this is 6 p.m. it went down. I knew they were doing maintenance. Yeah, I couldn't remember. So this was the brag. So this refers to that podcast. Friendly Geordies has spoken out amid his ongoing legal battle in an interview on the Butsman Premium podcast. So speaking to host Isaac Butterfield in a snippet from their podcast interview, Friendly Geordies summarised the defamation case brought to him by New South Wales Deputy John Barilaro. So he explained it this way: I'm getting sued for the same reason that virtually every reason in this country gets sued. And that's because we have the exact opposite laws to the US when it comes to defamation, where it's up to me to prove that I told the truth, as opposed to the US, where you actually have to go into the courts and say, this person lied about me and I can prove it. This goes back to Lords and Ladies' time, he continued. It is the foundation of free speech in this. Too early to make any more comments. Okay, good night, Cal. It was based on the premise that free speech was specifically for lords and ladies. That's why in this country, when you're in Parliament, you're allowed to say whatever the beep you want. Friendly Geordies continued, and it's hard for anyone else to call you out on your BS because you have parliamentary privilege. And that's one of the big tenements that's coming up in this case at the moment. I'm not allowed to run a defence that's called the truth, because that goes up against something called parliamentary privilege. He went on to add, the odds are stacked against me because it doesn't matter if you tell the truth or not. What really matters is that they have enough money to keep it going in the courts until someone goes bankrupt or has to sell their house. Fans were quick to throw support behind Friendly Geordies, with one commenting on the video, he represents the vast majority of us, not only in establishing rights to free speech, but reminding political leaders that it's just not billionaires that can shake the ground underneath them. Another added, I hope Geordies does win, or it will set a precedent that will never be able to bad talk politicians publicly unless we want a fixated persons unit visit. So then it talks about the videos, defamatory. These videos saw the comedian refer to Barilaro as fat, dedicant, conman, scum, and dangerously incompetent. Meanwhile, the law firm representing Shanks, Xenophon Davis, has posted an update which read, Deputy Premier opposes application for his defamation action to be heard by jury. Court denies jury. Then added, on the upside, court accepted we can run a constitutional defence of implied freedom of political expression, and we are appealing against the ruling denying Jordan a truth defence because of parliamentary privilege. So that is how that's going. So yes, they've... but they're running a constitutional defence. So we read that one. Alrighty, so let's go to the other one, Porter. So essentially what the judge has decided, nobody can use any of the documents filed by the ABC. All right, see the Fox. Is it that time already? Or are you just having an early night? So Christian Porter wins bid to defend suppression of ABC's defence in defamation case. So media organisations, including News Corp and 9 newspapers, have been blocked from publishing any of the ABC's unredacted defence in its defamation battle with former Federal Attorney General Christian Porter. He took action against the ABC in the federal court over a story about an unnamed cabinet minister accused of an alleged historic error. He revealed himself and denied that there was wrongdoing. When the ABC lodged its defence ahead of the hearing, Mr. Porter immediately applied for suppression, claiming the material breached federal court laws, because I believe the ABC pled the truth defence and they put what they believed to be the truth. Only a small part of the defence was made public, detailing a case relying on qualified privilege, truth, and implied right to freedom of political communication. At the end of May, before any of the case could be contested in the federal court, he settled with the ABC with no damages paid. The story remains on the ABC's website with an editor's note. However, both parties accept that some readers misinterpreted the articles as an accusation of guilt against Mr. Porter. That reading, which was not intended by the ABC, is regretted. After the settlement, the media groups applied to have suppression orders on the ABC's defence lifted. Justice Jane Jaggett rejected the media applications and agreed the court should keep the defence material separate. She said the material in the ABC's defence remains at a level of allegations that will never be tested in court now the matter has been settled. Earlier this month, Mr. Porter asked the court to strengthen the suppressions by banning the media groups from using the material for any other purpose. So today, Justice Jaggett granted the request, meaning the media groups cannot use material obtained by their lawyers for anything beyond court action. We will never know the truth defence other than what's been redacted. So, what are your thoughts? So I've got I actually have the judgment here. It's pretty long. So this was, as I said, this was today. Porter versus Australian Broadcasting Corporation. So the only person I think that has got the unredacted version that can be used is the South Australian coroner. Now, there could be a problem. There could be a problem if the South Australian coroner discovers or decides that there is a case to be answered. Now, the respondents, the ABC did not appear because they did not need to appear. They were actually excused because it wasn't their fight. This was against the intervening parties, so the media and Porter. So, and the other thing is that the media has to pay Porter's costs too, by the way. So, subject to any grant of leave by the court to the contrary, each of Nationwide News Proprietary Limited, Fairfax Media Publications Proprietary Limited, and The Age and their legal representatives may not use Schedules 1, 2, or 3 of the defence, dated 4th of May 2021, and paragraphs 2 and 8 of the reply dated 4th of May 2021, provided by the applicant to them by email on the 17th of May, other than for the purpose of being heard in respect of making of the making of a further or final suppression order, non-publication order in respect of the interim suppressed information as referred to in Order 3. Leave granted to the applicant to file and serve introductory application on the 13th of August. Nationwide news. Pay the applicant's cost for the application, and etc. etc. So then she goes through her decision, the facts. My question for this is, what is he trying to hide? What is in? I mean, I've seen I went through. I actually have a video with the unredacted stuff, and that was pretty chilling. That was pretty chilling. And so if the unredacted stuff was pretty chilling, what on earth is in the redacted stuff that has made him fight so hard that it never sees the light of day? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. So I'm just going down here. Yeah. So the usual order to costs be made in Mr. Porter's favour. So so her whole reasoning essentially is because the alleged victim has now died, is no longer, that there's actually never going to be a case. It's always going to be a what's if. It's never going to be tried, so we'll never know whether it's true or not, and that's part of her reason for doing that. Now, funnily enough, there is a documentary. Four Corners did a documentary, and Joe Dyer is the person that now Joe Dyer took Christian Porter's barrister to court, who happens to be the same barrister as Bruz, over conflict of interest, and won. So this is what she tweeted, and she said, the ABC's defence in Mr. Porter's discontinued defamation action is now officially buried, and with it the results of the only investigation conducted into Kate's allegations to date. Odd that only the ABC made the effort. The New South Wales Police didn't, and nor did the Prime Minister. Why? And that was her response to the news today. The ABC had conducted an investigation, and that was what was in there. So why? I really do enjoy all the proof that is. I don't know politics. Yeah, I have to admit, though, I'm learning a lot from you. Oh, thank you, Windwhiskers. Yeah, so I find it very, very bizarre. And it's not gone down very well. Social media did not take the news very well. I think he was trending at one point. He was. He's no longer trending. He's no longer trending. But let's have a look. Porter. And I put on. I tagged Bruz in a post and asked him why, with him going and everybody about the state opening up, was his barrister using COVID as a defence. So this was another one, because remember there's the Higgins. Yes, he was acting leader of the House for a while. So Higgins' investigation in PM's office just stopped. Still no investigation into Christian Porter. Andrew Laming still a sitting PM. Good to see that women problems is being sorted. So the Morrison's department boss has put the Brittany Higgins inquiry on hold. So that was, remember, that's the staff that got at Parliament House. We had Andrew Laming, who got accused of certain things, and Christian Porter being accused of certain things. See, we'll never get to know how innocent he was. Today's media attention reminds us Christian Porter remains a cabinet minister. He would have been privy to government's response to the Foster review. An independent review is still required to determine whether he is fit and proper to hold ministerial portfolio. There's nothing says you're innocent more than working to block the publication of the most of the evidence against you from the defamation case you started, then stopped when you saw the evidence. Luckily, Christian Porter's reputation is now restored. That could have been embarrassing. So Scott Morrison told a big porky today in Parliament, misleading the House is usually frowned on. Clive Palmer's WA border challenge is backed by Attorney General Christian Porter, it shows. Is he back being Attorney General? No way, he better not be. So that's his one. But yeah, it was not taken very, very well by people, by the public. So, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted these other stuff. Yeah. Because he withdrew. Oh, that's right. He withdrew his defamation case. So if we were, and they agreed. So I just, so and who the hell is picking up the legal tab? It must be massive. It better not be taxpayers. Innocent man battles tooth and nail to prevent anything about his innocence becoming public. So anyway, I was going to say he'll next be the Minister for Women. That would be the next big insult. So as I said, that has not gone down very well today with those news. So we've had mixed feelings, mixed reactions today over that. And just before I go on to the next topic, 54. So we know that there's been a problem in the regional areas of New South Wales, particularly the Indigenous communities. And the state government is blaming the federal government. Of course they are. So Willcannia COVID crisis government sidestep responsibility and respond to outbreak labelled a joke. Peak body for New South Wales Aboriginal Health Service said both New South Wales and federal government's response to the Western New South Wales outbreak was too little too late. Now, Brad Hazzard, the New South Wales Health Minister, said the vaccine rollout was a federal government responsibility, and Braz has said the same thing. The New South Wales government has refused to take responsibility for what it admits is a disappointing vaccine rollout to Aboriginal communities in the state's west, despite being warned last year of a potential catastrophe. So Brad Hazzard, the New South Wales Health Minister, said the vaccination rollout to Aboriginal communities have been challenging, but it is a federal government responsibility. It's not his. He was responding to claims made by Mari Ma Aboriginal Health Service in the far west of New South Wales that said that they warned both the state and federal governments in March 2020 that they needed to prepare for an outbreak. Yes, I have to find that one today. So they've been playing catch up. I need to just find that tweet because that was a good tweet. Let me just find that. So now they're passing the buck over who's responsible and who's not. And I don't care whose buck it is. I just think and of course the AFL Grand Final is going to Perth, and Jeff Kennett is very, very is this it? It was quite a press conference today, and Brad Hazzard actually said, and I quote, Aboriginal people are the responsibility of the federal government. Yes, you read that right. That is a direct quote. And then apparently she says, don't scream at me, though, when she's challenged. Hang on.
And that is first and foremost our absolute goal. Oh, you've already asked the question. I'll get some.
Just follow up. Yeah, just because.
Don't scream at me though. Yeah.
Can I please follow up? At 80%, the WA Premier has been very clear that he is not going to open up internationally. So will New South Wales go it alone to open internationally if the rest of the country is not open internationally?
We will follow what is in the national plan that every single Premier has signed up to. Now, I hope Premiers don't back away from that plan, but National Cabinet signed off on what 80% double dose vaccination would look like, and that involves consideration of international travel, of welcoming more Aussies home, of also, once we hit 70% double dose, we'll be thinking about, if not beforehand, how we treat people in quarantine when they're coming home. If you have fully vaccinated Aussies coming home, do you expect them to be in a hotel for 2 weeks in quarantine? Can we look after them at home as we do now, all the COVID cases? So there are lots of positive things to look forward to, and that will all depend on our double dose vaccination. But what it also depends, and I don't want to take away from this point, is that what Nurse Michelle Dowd highlighted today is all of this depends on keeping pressure off our hospital system, our intensive care system, and that means getting vaccinated. So getting vaccinated allows our hospital system to cope, but it also makes sure that we have all these positive things to look forward to. Now, the national plan, if not at 80% double dose, then when will we have international travel? 80% double dose of the adult population, and by then I'm assuming that a certain cohort of 12 to 15-year-olds will be vaccinated as well. If not at 80% double dose vaccination, then when? I think there's only one jurisdiction on the planet that's managed to keep 80% double dose vaccination outside of Australia. I'm confident New South Wales can do that. I'm confident Australia can do that. But what it's really important is for us to move forward together. Approach.
So there you go. Oh dear. Just recovered from COVID. Oh dear. Yeah, well, they're going to open. They're going to open the schools in October. So anyway, all right. So let's get on and just find the line. Let's do our Katie Joy part, because it was another day, another doxing. She went really hard today. And apparently she changed her videos and they didn't go down very well. And I think somebody put on, oh, yes, that's right. It was a while. You see, I don't watch them because I just yell. I just yell. It's like me watching Question Time. I just yell. I believe her videos were, she's tried to copy, is it Drama and Opinions? And unfortunately, it's backfired and she's got lots of negative stuff. Right, so here we go. Another wild day of Twitter. Where are we? So she starts off by carrying on about Jana Duggar wearing black and grey at a baseball game. Right. There we go. Oh, no, and she's smiling too. How dare they smile? Ruhif has pulled funding for lawsuits, according to his wife. She reached out to me today to apologise. I had no idea if he was funding any of the legal suits against me, but we will find out. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Good. But what is the difference between him paying for lawsuits with his with his children with disabilities and Katie Joy going to get Botox? So he's pulled funding for lawsuits according to, yeah, that one. What's the difference? Or using money for her. You can't smile in court. That's true. That is a good point. And then he reached out before she filed anything last year. He wanted to serve as a legal go-between. He's from Australia and has no legal standing in the United States, nor can he serve in any legal capacity for anyone here, as he's not a legal US citizen. But you can apply, can't you, to do it? No, he's an Australian. Oh, dear. And she's just put his name there. Look, she's doxed him. Again, everyone just knew him by Ruth. Look, she's doxed him. No, it's none of her business plan to create. Just like it was none of, it doesn't matter if Shanks crowd-funded his legal fees. Who cares? Regardless if funding has been cut to the present lawsuit or not, my plan remains the same. I'm going to vigorously defend the baseless claims of harassment and defamation while also filing counterclaims against him, which will include any associates who aided him. Hang on, is she saying her funding's been cut? But he could still contact her and say, you know, work as a legal go-between and then talk to a lawyer in the US. Hello, Princess Jax. I don't want to retweet it. All right. Even if he crowdfunded the funding, it's no one's business. That regardless if funding has been cut to the present lawsuit or not, my plan remains the same. Is she saying her funding's been cut? I think she's talking about the other person's, but that's not how she's written it. I thought she's a journalist because, anyway, that makes no sense. Carmen's nightmare is a nurse. Such a shame for a troll that is abusive to be someone that cares for the sick. I'd never hire a nurse like her. Oh, wow. Way to give the rest of us nurses a bad name. Are you saying Karma's nightmare gives nurses a bad name? Or Katie exposing she's a nurse is insulting nurses? Honest opinion, no shade. I can't imagine how stress of COVID is destroying nurses. Perhaps they're nasty to strangers because they deplete all compassion on unvaxxed idiots. Karma gives nurses a bad name, not Katie. What on earth? Rick Paulson. This must really suck. What? Have they just doxed her? We do know you did not get that photo from Twitter. I know these people are doing horrible things to you, but two wrongs do not make a right. I reported the tweet that showed your address again. I suggest everyone does the same. So someone's doxed her, and it's from someone called Rick Paulson. Whoops. There's hidden replies as well. But that's a hidden reply. This must really suck. I shouldn't really, like, what is the information? Oh, there's phone numbers and everything. Wow, look at that. Okay. I don't agree with that either, and I'll cut this. I think I might cut it out. All right. Hey, Karma, are your husband and kids proud of you for abusing and taunting public figures? Would the nursing board approve of this kind of behaviour? It's so weird to see a mum that is seemingly a good mum and wife act so ugly, but your husband exposed you by using his real name. What? Super dad. So there you go. She's stopped the husband, and then she's talked about Amy Roloff getting married. Is this a threat? A big whoops on your part. I see it now. Thank you, Carly, for the screenshots. I have this Peter blocked. She has my last name. Big whoops on her part. So she's blocked her. She's blocked Katie. Oh, yeah, I will do. Aren't you a lady being sued but for defamation by Todd Chrisley? Maybe manage your ducks and deal with your own behaviour. Yeah. But you cry when they do this to you. Do you not see what you're doing? They pulled reports. They talked about my child. I mean, you are no better. Grow up, get off the internet and have a real life. Remember, this is the second day she's doxed people. Did she? She showed. I don't know why they are so, well, that was part of their reasoning, is that they're saying that Shanks and Google have unlimited funds and their client doesn't. And it says, Dear Karma, this is your Twitter tagline. Who outed you? Then it's Ginger Duggar, Justin and Claire rebelling against Carlton. She was churning out some videos today. Then she started talking about her child's illness, children with neurological disorders, swallowing disorders, gastro. So she started to go through all her son's medical stuff again, which I don't. She doesn't want anybody to talk about her son but her, but she's put all his information. I mean, how's he going to feel when he's older and he's seen all his medical information there? And she says, feeding tubes is life-saving and no parent makes this decision lightly. Well, don't talk about it. And then that one, and then about and that one. So let's look at tweets and replies. Oh, yes, that's right. She got somebody wrong. Contempt of court is no bond. So, oh, yeah, that's right. So she's gone after, hey, Karen, she got looks like he's still using, we should all stop defending him. He needs help, serious help. Then she talked about, so she's saying that Kyle's looks like he's still using because Kyle Curtis got arrested. Everyone is hoping he'll get it together. We both know that ultimately it's his choice. Carl is a serious addict. His ex-boyfriend told me he's seriously abusive. Carl is charming, but it's all fake. He only knows crime. It's been his life for years. No one that we should be rooting for. It's not about who he is or whatever he's done. People say similar things to us about you, and quite frankly, it's the same answer. I don't know what awful things either of you might do, but the situation with Steve is wrong. I know Carl. Carl is a liar. Neither one of them, in my opinion, are good people. I'm aware you know him, but your opinion of him as a person absolutely has no bearing on my judgment with regards to one single situation. P.S. It's really weird how you were just smearing uni in a stream, and now you're here lecturing him on who he should support. It's really weird. You may have confused her with somebody. Oh, hang on. And then it's really weird how you spent months pulling reports of people associated with me, bullying me, and pretending like I don't remember your BS. You may have confused her with someone else. She created an anti-bullying group and was bullied off it. She probably wouldn't have any idea who I am by any handle. I'm really just an anonymous Twitter person. I'm annoyed and thinking she's going to be paranoid, but I suppose that's understandable after years of harassment. And then she says, Dom from South Africa. Oh, that was a nutter butter of all nutter butters. This isn't her. And then she goes, oh, okay, sorry. Really? She's just offended somebody. So it's 2 days in a row that she's been outing people. What's going on? And then she wanted the full stream of Steve McRae. And then she said, apparently, so they can talk about him being arrested, but I can't respond. I want to show you. All right, we're going to take one for the team. I'm going to show you one of her videos because hopefully she's done it because she's copped a lot of criticism about her videos.
So this friend of mine, Fred, said, hey, and it was shortly after.
Month anniversary, and Claire is not pregnant. Woo! Alert the press. Okay, so Justin and Claire have actually been pretty quiet on social media since they married in February of 2021. Justin, at the time of the nuptials, was 18 and Claire was 19. She turned 20 the next day. They have settled into a life in Texas. Justin has left his roots.
Looks like she didn't do it in this one because she was putting she was putting clips in the middle of them. I said she was trying to do drama and opinions. No, it looks like this was a normal one because she got a bit of slack for it. Or is this it?
I'm hanging out.
The last summer days at the pool.
Derek used to work at the city pool whenever.
Okay, we'll go back. We'll find her first one for the day because that was pretty. That was, I believe, that was not very good. Master. Okay. Go back here. Sorry about this. So. Oops. And we're nearly done, and then we'll head off. I think it was this one, was it? I think it was this one. Is this the one? Yeah, so this is where she's wearing the funny outfits, right, Will? There it is. Look at this. Look at this. This is what she's been criticised for. Watch.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. Over the weekend, guess who got together with her siblings?
I don't know the answer to that.
None other than Ginger Bolo Duggar. Yes, that's right. Ginger and her siblings all got together and went to a Dodgers game.
What are you thinking?
Now, there's a whole lot to unpack here, and there's so many pictures to share with you and so many things that are going off in my brain because, one, I hope they were wearing masks. There's a mask mandate right now in Los Angeles. And two, Jana was there wearing gray and black. Whoa, super crazy colors for the IBLP. And Jason and James were in attendance as well.
I'm at a loss for words. I just don't know what to do.
What do you reckon? That is just crazy. So she's had lots of people criticize her about that. And, of course, she doubled down. Oh, I've never heard a more annoying voice in my... I want to... She's got 177,000 subscribers, believe it or not. I still don't believe it. No, well, that's right. Drama and Opinions does it really well. And that's obviously who she's trying to copy. But it's just fallen flat. And I believe that she wasn't very happy because she didn't get the reaction that she wanted. And it was, why is everybody picking on me? Well, because you're not funny. That's essentially it. How? That's a very good question. There is lots of there's lots of speculation about that. To be honest with you, how she gets her subscriber, but she's got. That's why she looks down her nose at everybody. You got without a crystal ball. I'll just show you. So it looks like she took it out for the last one because she said she spent so many hours editing her videos and no one likes them. Well, at the end of the day, if the people don't like what you do, then they don't like what you do. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. It's gone up to 178,000. Really? It's gone up to 178,000. So she's had 27,000 views, 34,000 views, 178,000. I think. Well, it's funny. Yeah, I'm thinking that's why it has taken her a long time to get there. I don't want to. Yeah, so she's got 27, 34, 12, 54. 57, 55. Her views are really down. She's still got 7,000 subscribers for her vlogs channel, which is empty. How? Well, that's why she's doing more live streams, because her money from YouTube will be down this month, where mine's going up. Look, Has no content, but she's still got 7,000 subscribers. Hello, Jen, the sweet tea. So how does that work? Well, the day she passes, Emily D. Baker passes, they will hear about it. Yeah, look, 470 Duggar videos. Last time I looked, it was only 177,000. But see, anything that's not Duggar related gets, so the roll-off's only got 12,000 views. No one's so, but see, that's low. That's 27, 34. Actually, I'm going to just click on this because I believe the comments are really funny. Yeah, I won't be much longer. I've got an early start tomorrow, so we'll finish up in a minute. But have a look. Let's have a look. Oh no, I don't want this. Oh, this is ginger. Oh, this is ginger tiger. So this one's got 34,000. It's got 135 dislikes. Hey everyone, I've tried to do new things when I edit or I get bored. Every time I make changes, there is always resistance. However, I know I cannot keep making videos the same way or I will be bored and won't grow. The clips are short, funny, and I believe add value. They certainly don't interrupt enough for you not to get the entirety of my point. I want to be able to provide content that is entertaining and not the same every single video. I hope you understand. Change is hard but necessary. And then it's so that was after she got some, so apparently she's bored, so she's got to change the videos. Maybe you could include some, but every point you include one seems excessive. Noted. Agreed. Hard to follow. I liked them and enjoyed them at first. I think it might just have been a bit too many for one video. You're right about making it more fun. Thank you for the feedback. I'm going to do what I do. What? I like pop-ups. The Dr. Evil and Sheldon one made me laugh. They won't be in every video, but I'm honestly having fun. Do what you want. Why? Because I'm still going to watch. I'd rather have changes than one of my favorite YouTubers get burnt and quit. So and it says, oh, I love it. I love it. Change is great. I agree that change is good and should be implemented when it proves something. However, those clips were so annoying and distracting. They had nothing to do with your content and made the video hard to follow. One more video like this and I will not watch this channel anymore. Way too many. I find it too distracting, but that's me. They're your videos. You do what you want. Personally, I don't find them funny, but it's not the sort of thing that would make me stop watching. Even is a little annoying. I find it distracting. I appreciate you trying new things, but this isn't for me. I listen while walking and not looking at the screen, so pop-ups don't work. So stop this one after a few minutes. I think you should take it as a compliment. We are saying your posts stand just fine on their own, so no annoying clips needed. Change is great, but not when it's changed for the worse. Change away. My only feedback since you asked for it is to practice the timing for biggest effect. One really good cutaway is worth more than several average ones. Good one, though, with Dr. Evil. And then she goes, I'm doing my best. I'm stressed. I'm trying to do something fun, and all I'm getting is yelled at. I agree with the comment below. I think it was, I agree with the comment below. I think it was constructive feedback. That's what I was going to write and how I saw the comments. I wouldn't get defensive about it. Like you said, no one likes change. It seems the pop-ups were not a hit this time. Maybe we will learn to love them. We support and love your channel, so keep being you. I apologize. I'm having a terrible day. Listen, I'm going to do what I do. It's not going to be in every video. It's very frustrating when I try something new. Immediately it's negative. I find it makes me very defeated and sad. So I'm sorry. But if you're spending hours working on something and really enjoy making the video, would it not hurt you to have people tell you that they hate it? it's rude. I think feedback was about 50-50, that the public. Everyone isn't going to like everything. You just do what you want. Those that like it, those that don't. Too bad. Don't get upset about it. I'm having a bad day. I don't mind the pop-ups, not so many. I almost never comment on videos, but I love the editing in this one. I don't make content, but appreciate how much time editing goes in. I'm not a fan of the clips and the rough transitions. It's trying to be funny, but your voice is so serious when it transitions back. It doesn't mesh well. I think you're wanting to include those types of clips. You should acknowledge what you inserted or just make the script more comedic. So anyway, she didn't take it very well, as you can see. So, but if you want to see it done well, watch Drama and Opinions, because she does it brilliantly. She actually has the script that matches it. Oh, I'm not having a bad day. It was Katie Joy. I was just reading. Katie Joy was having a bad day, but that's okay. Thank you. Yeah. So as I said, it didn't go down very well. Her comedy. So on that note, I am going to say good night. I'm going to go off to bed. It's been a big day for me today with court cases galore, assignments, a double Barilaro with cheese. Oh, I can't. I can't read what that is. I can't, because I'm in the Red House. It's past curfew. You will like my videos, even if you don't like. Yes, you will. But see, people stop watching, and I think we're starting to see the views go down. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how much that affects if she keeps going down that road. Anyway, thank you for all watching. I know that Cactus Bill is on now, so I know that I'm gonna, or shortly, I know that I'm gonna go watch her and settle down for the night. So I'll catch you all later, and I'm gonna see if I can get my video from orange to green. But yes, thank you all, and as I said, I'll keep updated. I'm hoping that the judge's decision will be, we will get all the court documents through tomorrow for the Bros case, and then we can go through them in detail tomorrow. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Keep well, keep safe, and I'll catch you tomorrow.